It's basically,
all right, John, you can take over the world. Nothing ever happens to me. It's all my fault. If only I could find the Allspark. Here we go. Transformers, if you want. Transform. Autobots, roll out. But they probably won't. We must never lose sight of the fact that upon this earth, we are titans, and such power must be used wisely.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Hardwick. Welcome to the Nerdist Podcast. No, just kidding. I'm Ian, and we all know why we're here. No introduction needed. Please give a warm applause for Mr. Peter Cullen.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is, without a doubt, so honest to say this, so great to be back on Canadian soil, to be with wonderful Bonjour. Comment ça va? Bon. Let's begin.
All right. So the way this is going to work is, what happened is we asked you through our various websites, social media channels, everything like that, for some questions to be submitted. We've actually selected a few questions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if the person who submitted the question is here. Then you're going to be permitted to actually ask your question. We're going to bring you the sheet, and we're just going to, there are certain ones that are highlighted. Please answer, or please ask the highlighted question. So first of all, is there a Jonathan Boetto here?
Right here.
All right, here we go.
Calm down.
Come up. There is Okay. Yes, sir. Thanks, Tyler. Pretty good. My question. Optimus Prime has become a role model for leadership, like few other characters in pop culture. Do you feel a responsibility to maintain that model? And have there ever been instances throughout any of the TV shows or movies where you felt the need to alter the script in order to do so?
Very good question, and yes, I do. I feel a great responsibility to Optimus Prime. He was well conceived, brilliantly written, and I owe a lot. My entire future back in 1984 was based on a character called Optimus Prime. Bud Budiansky is probably one of the unsung heroes in Transformers. Not too many people realize that Bud is the genius behind the conception, part of that. And he created a character that had so many qualities that over a period of time, I could begin to feel the necessity for being true to those ideals. And I still feel that way today. I've been challenged, not during the animated portion of my career with Prime, but more in the feature film. And I had one major battle. And that was the use of a line that I thought was completely out of character. And I don't even want to say the line, but it had nothing to do with the military or anything like that. It was just the idea of modern day violence seeping its way into, the colloquial, everyday usage of violence, and it was so out of character, but nonetheless I was told to say it, so I expressed my disdain and my reluctance to say the line, but I've never had to do that again. So I won.
All right, next up we have a question from Dylan G. So Dylan, if you want to make your way on up here.
Give it a try.
Hello.
Hello.
So Transformers is full of spaceships and lasers and all kinds of science fiction type stuff. Did you have any knowledge or interest in that kind of material before becoming involved in Transformers? And how does your experience as an actor help you to work with some of these outer worldly concepts that normal humans might have a hard time with?
Wow. Well, okay. Back in 1969, when man landed on the moon, I was in Montreal and I was watching it on television, and I was amazed. I was really amazed. I couldn't believe my eyes. Man going to the moon, oh my. I developed such a love for NASA and anything related to space back in those days. And it continued on, and by the good fortune of Optimus Prime, Transformers, that led me to NASA itself and Goddard Space Flight Center, where I just returned from. I was in Washington for that, for the Optimus Prime spin-off awards. And well, it's very exciting. You ought to look into it. I do a lot of work with Goddard, but I tell you, and with NASA, and to see these young kids, from 5 to 7 years old, coming up with videos that show the innovations that have come out of the NASA program for man, but originally conceived for the protection and safety of mankind going into outer space. Thousands of inventions that we take for granted every day. So to be a part of that spin-off award got me close to astronauts and to rocket launches down in Florida. And I'm a spoiled little brat.
All right, so next up we have a question from Michael Passer. Is there a Michael Passer here? Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and read his question if he's not here. Okay, my 10-year-old son has a few questions in hopes to submit, one for Mr. Cullen. And the one we've selected is, how did you come up with the original voice for Optimus Prime?
It's a story that I've told many times, and maybe some of you have heard it, but it's a story very dear to me, and it's the truth. It happened. My brother Larry, a captain in the Marine Corps, had returned from Vietnam. He was a decorated Marine, and the Bronze Star with V and a couple of Purple Hearts. And we were sharing an apartment, going through a difficult time in my life, when Larry came down, and it was about 1984, and we were, as I said, living in an apartment together. And he would always take a little interest in where I was going every day, because I was a grunt, as the Marines would say. If you're a ground trooper, you're a grunt. Anyway, Larry's 13 months older, 5 inches taller. And but we're 13 months apart. We were very, very close. So he said, Peter, where are you going today? I said, well, Lar, what, you need the car? He said, no, I just want to know where you're going. I said, I'm going to audition. I'm going to be, I'm auditioning as a truck. He did the same thing. So I said, but Larry, he's evidently he's a hero truck. He's a hero. And his face got somber, and he said, Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be a Hollywood hero type with all the BS and all the yelling and screaming and trying to be tough. Be strong enough to be gentle. Okay, Larry, yeah. So as his voice is ringing in my ears as I'm driving to the audition, and I read the copy, and Larry is just coming out, his voice, the way he talked to me. And it said, you know, I'm Optimus Prime. No, it was, my name is Optimus Prime. And the softness in his advisory tone was significant, and so the words just rolled off my tongue. I'm from the planet Cybertron, and blah 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 blah. And I kind of finished it and said, okay, thank you very much, Peter. So, okay. So, well, I walked out and getting into the car, and I said, I wish Larry had been here. I think he would have been proud of me, because I think I nailed it. I really think I've nailed the character, because it was just Larry. And 2 weeks later, my agent called me up and said, oh, Peter, remember that Transformers thing in the truck? He said, yeah. He said, you got the part of Optimus Prime. I said, I do. He says, yeah, and you also have another part called Ironhide? What's this Ironhide? So that was the beginning. That was the launch. Did that answer the question, you think?
I think it answered the question. Can you do a little Ironhide?
Ah, gee whiz, Prime. Calm down, Ironhide. I just want to kick some butt, Prime. Not now. Not now, Ironhide. Later. Much later.
All right, the next question is from Goober.
Goober behaves.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi Peter, how you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, my question for you is, how did you feel about the decision to kill off Optimus Prime in the 1986 Transformers animated movie? Were you quite attached to the character at that time? And were you involved in the decision, I guess part two, were you involved in the decision to resurrect the character in season 3 and 4?
The latter part of the question, no, I had nothing to do with the decision to bring Prime back. Let's go to the front of the story, though. Well, what's the front of the story?
How did you feel about the decision to kill off Optimus Prime in the animated movie? How did you feel about that?
I hated it. I really did. You know, it was really something that I was counting on. You know, I was getting my life back together, and you know, I did them for 2 years, and in that 2 years, I had so much fun. I mean, we're all lined up in a studio, all the characters from G1. You know, we all worked together. We got to know each other pretty well, and we always had fun. There was always a creative moment, always creative input. And then when the tape was rolling and there was quiet, it was very serious. And everybody paid attention to what everybody did. And they all enjoyed each other's work. And sometimes you couldn't contain yourself. If some guy was being funny in a line, you'd really blow the tape by laughing out loud. I'm sorry. All right, we'll do that take over again, Pete. All right. Sorry. Anyway, I was standing with Frank Welker, and we were reading our lines, and I got to page, 17, and I said, "Hey, Frank, I'm getting whacked on page 17. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not coming back." Oh, there go the car payments. But then the movie opened, and let me go back a little bit. When I said, okay, we've got Orson Welles here, we've got all these great actors and all this stuff. And I said, I'm going to die. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the best acting dying guy in the world. I said, if I'm going out, I'm going to go out big. So I just, as a studied actor, knowing that less is more, and I've seen some pretty terrible death scenes in my career, I just did it and said, that's my swan song, and I'm out of here. And then, of course, the movie, as I learned many years later, that the movie was not a success, and kids were leaving the theater and hiding in their closets, I heard, under their beds, wouldn't come out. Parents got really upset. They made some noise, and the studios, whoever it was, they said, you've got to bring them back. Which I didn't find out 15 years later, I found out. But evidently that's what happened. So I said, wow, why wouldn't I know? Why wouldn't they tell you? But back in those days, you didn't have the internet. And fan mail, never got any. So how did you know? There was no way to gauge it. But anyway, they brought me back for 2 more shows, 2 or 3, to tell the kids that Optimus Prime was alive and well and no longer living in poverty.
Thank you.
Okay, is there an Andrew Richards here? No? Okay.
Chicken.
We'll pretend. All right. So, if you had the chance to voice Megatron, would you do it, or would your conscience force you to ask Frank Welker if it was okay?
Well, there's a long explanation to this that goes into my career, not based upon the Transformers, but I'll give you an example. There was an actor that was alive, and I thought, because I thought he was dead because I was auditioning for him, his character, his role that he created in a long playing album. Anybody can remember that? You know what LPs are, long playing albums? Good. Anyway, all right. And so here I am, and I'm singing this character, and I'm talking like him, I'm doing stuff, and all that stuff, good. Anyway, so the producers and directors, they go outside the studio. I'm sitting there with the engineer, and I just squat onto the engineer table, and I say, when did such and such die? He says, oh, he's not dead. I said, what? No, they just didn't want to pay him the money, so they're bringing you in. I went, I walked out. And if Frank was to be replaced and they wanted me to do his character, I'd tell them to themselves. Frank is one of the greatest voice actors of all time. I call him the King. And we're very good friends. I ride horses, he flies planes.